What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans. Happy freedom. Please take a second to hit that like button. More likes, more hooligans. We're going to go through the schedule really quick. We're going to make sure all the chats are running. We have the press briefing with KJP in about 6 minutes. If she's on time. She won't be on time. But if she was on time, she'd be on stage in about 6 minutes. We'll be starting off today's live with a video titled 4 Dead in Private Plane Crash After Violating DC Airspace. I had to watch like 5 videos to figure out what actually happened. There's no single news source that tells you everything that happened. They make it really mysterious. I think it's because they got DC in the title. They're like, an aircraft flew over DC. You gotta make it mysterious. I don't know. Then we have a video titled Woman Attacks People at Tompkins Square Park in Manhattan. Just loses her marbles all over the place. Goes on an aggressive spree. Then we have a video titled Thieves Steal $100K in Cigarettes and Cash from San Francisco Smoke Shop. It's just crime over the weekend. That's all that was happening. And then we have a video titled Former Vice President Pence Files Paperwork Launching 24 Presidential Bid in Challenge to the Orange Eagle. I don't know anybody that's going Pence. I don't know anyone that's going for Pence. I didn't even know that was I didn't even consider it. I guess that's a thing. So then we have a video titled Chicago Sees Another Violent Weekend. Just another day in Chicago. People getting shot and whatnot. And we'll be wrapping up things today with a video titled Woman Who Threw Her 2 Young Kids Off of Portland Bridge Dies in Prison. She didn't survive her vacation in prison. Good for her. Alright, let's make sure everything's running. What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Zero Gravity? Happy Freedom. What's up, High Plains Drifter? What's up, Freckles? What's up, Shake and Bake? What's up, Robert? What's up, Proud Ankle? What's up, Kabuki? What's up, Anthony? What's up, Hair Juicer? Happy Freedom, all you hooligans. What's up, Super Kendall? Let's see. No, I don't think I've seen that, Super Kendall. No, you're not posting the link in here. You have to post it in Gilded or Discord or something like that. It won't. That link's not gonna fly in here. Let's see. What's up, Robert R? What's up, Miss Jamie? What's up, Cash Flow? Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Cheeky Chops? I'm surprised you guys can't hear the kids outside. There's a school next door and they're out there going ham. Going ham right now. I think it's the last week of school for the kids. They're all excited and premature terrorists. What's up, Tumbleweed? Alright. What's up, everyone? The JeffMAC Live secret YouTube channel. What's up, Shadow? Happy Freedom. What's up, everyone on Twitch? What's up, Grey Wolf? Happy Freedom. Oh, Kick is all weird now. They moved everything around. What's up, everyone on Kick? I don't know if this message from Sultry Ragu is recent or not. They shouldn't have did this. This is all messed up now. Kick looks terrible. What's up, everyone on Odyssey? What's up, Donna Sparks? Happy Freedom. Hope you're doing good. And what about Rumble? What's up, everyone on Rumble? It says there's only one person watching, but there's 5 people in the chat. Rumble's always got something going on. What's up, Serum? What's up, Patty? What's up, Lifelike? What's up, TJ? Happy Freedom. The woman who killed her children happened many years ago. I wonder how she died. They don't know. Well, they say they don't know. I am not sure. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. KJP's not wandering on stage yet. I already got it pulled up. That way we can catch it on time. So we'll be starting off with this first video titled 4 Dead in Private Plane Crash After Violating DC Airspace.
Fox News alert, 4 people are dead after a private plane comes crashing down in Virginia after crossing through restricted airspace over Washington and triggering an emergency response from the Pentagon. You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday morning. I'm Carly Shimkus.
And I'm Todd Pyro. 2 F-16 fighter jets were cleared to investigate that plane at supersonic speed, resulting in a deafening boom heard for miles in every direction. from Washington, Alexandria.
Well, Todd, Carly, by the time that boom was felt and heard, this plane had traveled for hundreds of miles, likely on autopilot. The private aircraft took off from Elizabethtown, Tennessee yesterday. That's where it initially embarked from. It was close to its Long Island destination when the Cessna Citation suddenly made a 180-degree turn and began flying in the other direction. When it eventually reached Washington, D.C.'s restricted airspace, NORAD scrambled 4 F-16 fighter jets. Permission had been granted to fly at supersonic speed, and that is what caused the boom. In a statement, NORAD wrote the civilian aircraft was intercepted at approximately 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time. The pilot was unresponsive, and the Cessna subsequently crashed near the George Washington National Forest in Virginia. NORAD attempted to establish contact with the pilot until the aircraft crashed. Virginia State Police then later followed up stating this. At 3:50 p.m. Sunday, the Virginia State Police was notified of a possible aircraft crash in the Stanton Blue Ridge Parkway region. Search efforts by the Virginia State Police, Augusta County Sheriff's Office, and Augusta County Fire Rescue immediately got underway by ground and air across the region. Shortly before 8 p.m. Sunday, first responders were able to reach the crash site by foot. State Police has suspended its search efforts. No survivors were located. Now, speaking to the New York Times, John Rumpel said that he's the plane's owner. He said that his daughter, his granddaughter, and her nanny were passengers on board that plane alongside that pilot. The article reads, quote, Mr. Rumpel, who is also a pilot, said that he had little information about the circumstances of the crash, but hoped they had not suffered. His voice breaking, he said that if the plane lost pressurization, they all just would have gone to sleep and never woke up. Barbara Rumpel, his wife, wrote on Facebook just this one devastating line: "My family is gone, my daughter and granddaughter." An investigation is underway into the cause of this crash, and NORAD did emphasize that multiple attempts were made to contact this pilot, including flares, and that this plane was not shot down. Carly, Todd.
Tragic reaction from the family there. Alex, thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe.
Well, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of being cryptic about everything. You spend the whole article going, did they shoot it down? Like, okay, the military was alerted that this plane flew over D.C. and they're not supposed to do it, but did they shoot it down? And then at the very end, they're like, no, we didn't shoot it down. Like, well, what happened? Well, apparently the pilot was asleep, and they could visibly see that he was sleeping and tried to wake him up and didn't, and then he crashed. I guess they flew past their destination, and then the plane had turned around, and that's when they had spotted it. Like I said, I had to watch like 5 different videos to understand what happened. I don't know. It's kind of suspicious. What's up, JP? Happy freedom. What's up, Colorado Yankee? What's up, Crystal Hart? Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Matthew, I don't know. Something is suspicious about that whole situation there. What's up, Get Some J? What's up, JB? What's up, Dan? Happy freedom. What's up, Christine? Matthew, autopilot. I don't know anything about airplanes. I don't know how autopilot or any of that stuff works. I do not know. Guess some J flares but not shot down. Yeah, I don't know. In some of these videos it's saying that when the fighter jets had tried to make contact with the private airline or the whatever it is, the private plane, they could see that the pilot was asleep, but then they just let it crash, I guess. I don't know. It's not really clear. And then they let 4 people die. I mean, I don't know what they were supposed to do, I guess. It's just a really weird situation. The whole thing is really weird. I've watched all the videos I could find that had to do with it, so I tried to understand what happened. I still don't really exactly know what happened. Thank you so much, Annette, for continuing the membership program for 15 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you, Annette. Thank you. Bubba, it lost pressure. They speculate that it lost pressure. They don't actually know anything. They know there wasn't any survivors. They know that, even though it took them 5 hours to find the remains of the plane crash. There's no survivors. What's up, Miss Jamie? Happy freedom. Matthew, no parachutes? Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd have to be trained. I don't know how that works. I've never gotten on an airplane ahead and be like, well, just in case you guys need it, you know, so we get some parachutes out back. I've never seen that, but I've never been on a private plane either, so I don't know. What's up, Snooks? Happy freedom. Thanks so much, Snooks, for continuing the subscription on Twitch for 4 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you, Snooks. Thank you. Grey Wolf might have been a medical issue. That's true. It could be. I didn't even think of that. Could have been. What's up, Salty Ragu? You are over here on Kick. I don't know why Kick is all messed up now. I can't see anything. Kick seems messed up. The bunny did it. It's the bunny's fault. Salty Ragu, I'm going with snakes on a plane. It could have been. It could have been. I don't know. Something suspicious about it. Serum Mr. Rumble. What is that? Are you Mr. Rumble? What's up, Astral Hammer? Nope. No one survived. No one survived the plane crash. What's up, Pumpkin? Happy Freedom. KJP is still not on stage. So we'll go ahead and move on to this next video. It's titled, Woman Attacks People at Tompkins Square Park in Manhattan. I don't know. I think it's more white supreme pizza. It's not good. It's not good. Also, there's like no context to this. I don't know where the aggressive spree started, but it is entertaining.
Prostitute.
The people on the left side just flee away. Nobody tries to stop her. They just look at everybody, just move away. I think that was a little bit of an interpretive dance right there. I'm kind of surprised that she even got arrested. This guy right here, he's the authority on the situation. He's trying to inform the officers of what's going on.
My dad thinks nobody. You're going to jail, girlfriend. You don't go around beating up strange people in the street, like 7 people, pulling their hair, dragging them everywhere.
Crackhead activities. Robert, too much Parmesan? It might have been. Had a little too much. Got out of control there. Of course. Right when I choke on my coffee and the video ends. Goodness. Yep. Bubba says it's a meth head. I'm not sure what she's on. I'm not sure. Is it the fentanyl? Is it the fentanyl getting her? What's up, Mr. Anthony? Happy freedom. Eric, does the ambulance have bars? I noticed it was an ambulance also. And I thought that was interesting. I was wondering if those weren't police officers, if they were social workers. Maybe they were just social workers out there to ask her about her feelings. Oh my God. I'm going to have to fix this. Eric, breathe. I'm trying. I am trying. I was inhaling my coffee. That's where I went wrong. Let's see. Snooks, her boyfriend left her? I don't know. I think it was more than that. She was out there on a spree. I'm really surprised she got arrested, though. What's up, New Dawn? Happy freedom. And it should be out in an hour. Oh, yeah. I guarantee it. Get some Jay. She was upset about not understanding Father's Day. Could have been. I'm going with the too much parm. She had a little bit too much parm. Miss Jamie, you think it was a dude? It might have been. It's hard to tell nowadays. Half the people you see on TikTok are dudes, and you wouldn't, like, at first glance, you don't think they are. That's why they're shapeshifters. Robert, why is she not on the ground? There's a lot of funny stuff I want to say to that, but last time they put a criminal on the ground, he didn't survive. He didn't make it. Grey Wolf, lock her up. Yep. Bass Senior, stumbling mentally ill. Something's going on. What's up, JT3? Happy freedom. What's up, Eric? Appreciate you being here. Mary, heart attack from drugs. She's on something. Her whole, like, upper lip was all swollen, and I've seen that before, but I don't remember what it's from. She had something going on. Snooks, if the plane was on autopilot, it wouldn't have crashed. Autopilot has sensors to steer it, right? Yeah, I don't know much about planes. I don't get in planes. I don't want to fall out of the sky. Don't get in a plane. Don't want to drown. Don't get in the water. Don't want to get abducted. Don't look for aliens. Like, I just, yeah. It all makes sense to me, so I don't know. What's up, Sam? Happy freedom. Destroying my stuff up here. My little paper cranes. You've never seen a paper crane that small. Just in case. You never know. Anyways. What's up, Ipso? Happy freedom. Laura, you think it's a dude? Willing to bet money on it. It could be. It could be. Eric, the homeless have special privileges now. I'm not sure if she was authentically homeless or just pulling off that look. Giving off homeless vibes and whatnot. She was styling. I don't know. It's Manhattan. It's Manhattan. Super Kendall, she was hot. Take her out for some crack coffee. She started her morning early with some crack coffee. Miss Jamie, she flashed the two women on the bench to show their junk. It's not a chick, I'm telling you. I wasn't sure what that was. It was some sort of interpreted dance, but it did look like she was like giving them a preview for free before she subscribed to her OnlyFriends. Get some J. It's about risk mitigation. Yeah. And it's because she has got Mpox. I don't know. I don't know what the lips is about. Robert, was that Nick Cannon? I think it was. It's Nick Cannon out there prancing around. Laura, are we sure it's a woman? No. Nope. Pretty soon we're not going to be able to say that on here. I won't know till I get a strike, though. Grey Wolf. Where's Mr. Beansy Beans? I'm not sure. I am not sure. Hopefully he shows up. Hopefully he's doing well. What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom. 10 Man, she's entitled a little bit. Like I said, I'm surprised she got arrested. I thought she would just wander to the end of Manhattan, disrupting everyone's day. And no one did anything. Everybody just watched it happen. They didn't get involved in any kind of way. They're just like, oh, she's going crazy. We better wander off, because if we interfere, we'll be charged with murder like Daniel Penny or whatever his name is. I don't know. Maybe that is why they didn't interfere. Didn't work out for the last guy. Salty girl, someone should have smacked it in the head with a chair and then ran away, because if you stay there, you know, you're probably going in. Yeah, no one did anything. They all just let it happen. Sarah, you crack me up. Well, KJP is still not on stage, even though she's 15 minutes late. Probably get through this next video. It's titled "Thieves Steal 100,000 Doll Hairs and Cigarettes and Cash from San Francisco Smoke Shop." All these are like no-brainers. Manhattan's going bad. San Francisco's staying bad. Everybody talks about how bad Detroit is, but I only see New York and San Francisco when I'm looking for the news. Just back to back.
In San Francisco, 2 businesses on Geary Street are still picking up the pieces after they were the victims of the most recent smash and grab.
Betty Yu shows us the extent of the damage.
Video shows 2 cars parked outside of Cigarettes Are Cheaper in the Richmond in the overnight hours on May 31st. One thief first uses a tool to try and break the glass before the group eventually pushes their way inside the store. Some burglars were already carrying empty bags. Once inside, the thieves start clearing out the shelves, dumping whatever they could get their hands on into a bin and what looks like a bed sheet. In about 15 minutes, they made off with 500 cartons of cigarettes. This is the damage they left behind.
So many businesses, they run out of the business or they're moving out from the city because of the non-safety, you know. Nobody feels safe. Like, I don't even feel safe here anymore. I don't know what's going to happen next. They can come in the daytime, they can rob me, they can do anything.
Sunny Shakur runs the family-owned business that opened in this Geary Boulevard location about 30 years ago. This is the biggest hit they've suffered. Do you feel like it's getting worse?
Yeah, because I see every day, I hear every day something happening in this neighborhood. They break into those houses because 2 days before that, the cop came here, the police, they told me they're looking for the 2 cars. It's like a 7, 8 guys in the same group. That's what he said.
The manager says that the thieves also made out with the safe. It was located here. Inside, about a week's worth of cash, estimated to be $20,000. Sonny said that same night, thieves also broke into the doctor's office next door.
Okay, so what they did, they took all the cigarettes from these shelves, because this is all new order. We ordered everything.
Sonny said his family immigrated to the U.S. from Afghanistan for a better life.
So we come from far away to work here, to live. Like I say, $100,000 not easy to cover.
The thieves stole what would take the store about a quarter of the year to make in sales. The family has spent thousands of dollars in window replacements and installing new gates behind the glass.
Want the government, you know, the city of San Francisco to pay more attention, you know, for businesses, for safety of people, businesses, houses, all around, because we are the taxpayer, you know.
Well, I mean, he's just telling it like it is, saying everybody's leaving. All the businesses are leaving because they don't feel safe. They keep replacing windows, and now they took $100K from him in product. You don't know how he's going to recover. Well, that's how it goes. You live in those neighborhoods, those major cities. It's rough stuff. Wait, you get what you vote for. Yeah, it's true. And had no accountability for their actions. Yeah, no one was arrested. They're saying that the same group of people is hitting multiple spots. Just let them do it. Might as well just let them do it. JT3 cigarettes are big money. Yeah, cigarettes cost too much. Eric Blaine Newsom. Yeah, isn't Newsom running for president? He's going to be running for the main office. Matthew, poor guy. Yeah. Just trying to run a business. Got a bunch of lowlifes breaking in. What's up, Hydrodynamic? Happy freedom. Air quality? I don't know. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I went for a walk yesterday. I didn't Notice anything? It hasn't been deathly hot the last couple days. I've been appreciative of that. I think it's only 70 something now. It was rough those last few days. Yeah, it's only 75 right now. It gets up near 90, it's like death. I don't even have any ice packs on me today. I've been walking around the house with an ice pack in each pocket, and then when I sit down, you gotta tuck one under the goods. It's the closest thing to air conditioning that I have. Trying not to die. Bubba KJP, come on, man. I know, she's still not on stage. Eric, Californians are so lazy they won't do anything. I don't know. I think it's weird to see so much crime and people, just like with that lady on that aggressive spree, she was on there just like, oh, crazy person, let's just go the other way. Let's not tell her to stop. Let's not restrain her. Let's not call the police. We'll just wander away. Just let it happen. Eric, it's 50 there. I wish it was 50 here. It was like 52 last night. I had the fan in the window. It's like air conditioning. I like it right in the 50s. What's up, Jay Breeze? Happy freedom. Appreciate you being here. Evidence. Poor guy needs to get out of the city. America is dead and our border is wide open. That would suck to come here from a war-torn country just to watch ours descend into darkness. That's why I keep thinking about people crossing the border. Like, I don't know what you're running away from, but this is not a good time for us. This is not a good time to come here. You don't want to be here right now. Things are rough over here. What's up, Impreza? Happy freedom. Yeah, Klaus Daniels over here taking a nap. That's all he does. I don't know. I think he's experiencing that heat. Last year we were allowed to put air conditioners in the window. Now we can't. It's against their insurance or something. I don't know. Irish let New York City burn along with DC. It's like San Francisco, New York City, and DC are just every day there's something going on. Robert, KGP's having pride tacos. Could be. It could be. But it was man-made. It's not authentic. That's not an authentic taco. It was man-made. That's how she prefers it. Reading through the chat really quick. I don't want to run through everything because then we'll just be sitting here waiting on KJP. Is it somebody's birthday? Anthony, it's your birthday? Well, happy birthday, Anthony. Thanks for cutting a little time for us today to come hang out. You're awesome. I hope today kicks ass for you. What's up, Independent? Happy freedom. Thanks for being here. Sam, I know some very awesome people. A whole lot of FAFO around here. The blue cities seem to be where all the problems are. Oh well. I feel the same way. That's why it's so weird for me to even see that stuff, because around here that wouldn't last. There's people wishing there would be problems like that around here. They're over prepared for it. Stuff like that doesn't happen where I live. Laura bought a standalone AC unit for $225. That's what I was thinking about doing. Running and see if I could find an AC where you exhaust it out the window or whatever. You just put the little slot thing in the window where the hose is. I guess I can have that. I don't know. They want me to pay $150 to cut the hole in the wall right here and put my AC in the wall. But then when I leave, I'm supposed to just leave the hole in the wall that goes directly outside. I don't understand it. But they're trying to make me pay the bill and I won't get the money back. And I'm trying everything I can to not have to do that, because it just doesn't seem right to me. Irish. Yeah, I went to Full Sail. No, I don't know what Haven is. Here, Juicer just drove by the apartment buildings that collapsed in Davenport. They're supposed to tear it down, aren't they? You're welcome, Anthony. I appreciate you being here on your birthday. I think birthdays are the best holidays. It's your own personal holiday. And with new groups emerging of people and groups and whatnot, you know, every year there's like 20 new holidays for everybody. Your birthday is just for you. And I think that's awesome. That's why I always go ham on my birthday. It's your own personal holiday. I get excited about it. Shadow Newsom has killed California. It seems that way. I've never really heard good things about California. And I used to just think it was old people complaining about hippies. When I was younger, I used to think that's all it was. People were like, oh, out in California is the devil. I'm like, what? I want to go out there. That's where music's doing good and there's cool stuff out there and blah, blah. No, you become an adult and you're like, nope, they're all hurting kids out there. Like, no, I don't want to go out there. No. Serum, Jeff will not be wearing pants during the live stream. Viewer discretion is advised. That's only if I stand up. As long as I don't stand up, I'll be fine. Snooks are looking for bodies at the apartment building. Oh yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew that they hadn't gone on and done a search yet, but last I seen that was a few days ago. Well, it looks like it's about go time. That's how it's looking. And we got Jacqui today. Looks like Peter's not here. Get some J. I want a birthday month. Yeah. It happens. It does happen. Get enough people that know it's your birthday, it becomes your birthday month. I didn't know till I knew. One day they should give us Jacqui and Peter. And KJP should call on both of them. But that's asking for way too much. Nino 5. Not my birthday because it's on Christmas. Your birthday's on Christmas? Oh, I'd be owning that if I was you. I'd be like, I don't know what Christmas is. It's my birthday. Thank you guys for the presents. And then I'd eat a lot and then take a nap. I would. Birthdays are the best. Serum expired fish tacos free, but this month only. You guys crack me up over on Rumble. Oh, we do got a new signer. Look at that bullfrog of a human being. Is that Jabba the Hutt? Oh, it's go time.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Prostitute.
So with all of the foreign policy news happening this morning or throughout the day, we wanted to have Admiral Kirby join us in the briefing room to take some of your questions. And as you know,
why?
The Prime Minister is here with a meeting with the President currently doing a bilat. So he'll give a preview of that. And as you also know, and are tracking, the UK Prime Minister Sunak will be here on Thursday as well. And the Admiral could take any questions that you all have.
I'm not convinced that the sign language person knows what they're doing. I think they're making it up.
How y'all doing today?
Annyeonghaseyo.
This afternoon, the President's meeting with Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen of Denmark. That meeting just started, and it's really designed to help strengthen the deep and enduring ties between the United States and Denmark. This is a visit that the President has been looking forward to for quite some time, and there's a pretty full agenda. Obviously, they're going to review our efforts as NATO allies and close partners to strengthen transatlantic security, bolster economic prosperity. They're also certainly going to discuss our unwavering support for Ukraine in the face of Russia's brutal aggression. And in that context, I think you can certainly expect that they'll raise the issue of the F-16s and the mutual consortium that we have put together to try to advance some, as an initial step anyway, training of Ukrainian pilots. And of course, they'll coordinate on a range of other issues, including energy security, climate change, and other global issues that, of course, we'll have a readout for you when it's over. I'd also just like to highlight quickly, as you've seen from the Departments of Treasury and State, the United States is now taking additional action to combat Russia's malign influence in Moldova. The individuals that were designated today
bend over
to capitalize on protests in Chisinau that were designed to seize the Moldovan government house and conduct an opposition meeting. These trained and oversaw groups in democratic countries that conduct anti-government protests, rallies, marches, demonstrations, and the U.S. government is going to continue to support the Moldovan government and their people in their efforts to combat coercive activities that undermine democracy there. With that.
Welcome back. Good to see you. John, good to see you. In the span of a week, we've now had two close encounters, one at sea, one in the air with the Chinese military. Are these isolated incidents, or is China becoming more aggressive?
Sadly, Ed, these are part and parcel of an increasing level of aggressiveness by the PLA, the PRC's military, particularly in the area of the Taiwan Straits and in the South China Sea. The air intercept was over the South China Sea, and the maritime intercept that you talk about was in the Straits. And sadly, this is just part, again, of a growing aggressiveness by the PRC that we're dealing with, and we're prepared to address it. You heard Secretary Austin speak to that out at the Shangri-La Dialogue just this past weekend, and we're going to continue to keep the lines open with the Chinese to make it clear how unacceptable those particular intercepts are.
There was that handshake at the Shangri-La conference. Has there been any other conversation between U.S. and Chinese officials about
Well, I think you know we have two officials in Beijing right now. The Senior Director for China, Sarah Barron here, and Dan Crittenbrink from the State Department are in Beijing as we speak.
I know you have to be very careful about the words you choose, but what is, in describing this, but what is the best way to describe what China is doing in the air and on the seas?
I'll try to give you an answer, but I sure would like to hear Beijing justify what they're doing. That said, these are intercepts. Now look, air and maritime intercepts happen all the time. Heck, we do it. The difference is when we do it, when we feel like we need to do it, it's done professionally, and it's done inside the international law, and it's done in accordance with the rules of the road. These two that you saw recently, and they have happened with more frequency than we'd like. Not all of them are unsafe and unprofessional, but these two were. You saw in the air intercept that they forced our aircraft, an RC-135, to basically go through the jet wash. That you saw the bump in the cockpit. That shows you how close that Chinese fighter was to our jet. And in the maritime intercept in the Taiwan Straits, 150, 140, 150 yards. Speaking as an old sailor myself, I'll tell you that's pretty close when you're in open waters like that. And you could see the head of steam that Chinese vessel had on it as it crossed the bow of one of our destroyers. No call for that. It's unsafe. It's unprofessional. And as to why they're doing it, I think, again, I think that's a great question to ask them. What I would tell you from our perspective is we're flying, we're sailing, we're operating in international airspace and international waters. And both of those incidents were in complete compliance with international law. There was absolutely no need for the PLA to act as aggressively as they did. It won't be long before somebody gets hurt. That's the concern with these unsafe and unprofessional intercepts. They can lead to misunderstandings. They can lead to miscalculations. When you have pieces of metal that size, whether it's in the air or on the sea, and they're operating that close together, it wouldn't take much for an error in judgment or a mistake to get made, and somebody could get hurt. And that's just got to be unacceptable. It should be unacceptable to them as well.
John, you just said that these two incidents are part of a pattern of an increasing level of aggressiveness. Right. So then why was it appropriate to send two senior officials to visit China on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre?
A couple of things. First of all, it wasn't timed to the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square. Number two, it wasn't timed specifically to deal with these intercepts. You can imagine a trip to Beijing by U.S. officials takes some time to plan. So it wasn't timed to these events. That said, both these U.S. officials used the opportunity to raise our concern over these 2 intercepts that I just talked to Ed about. Absolutely raised the concerns that we had. Now, we had raised those concerns through our embassy as well, so this wasn't a new message that the Chinese were hearing. But I think you can also understand, Jacqui, that particularly when times are tense, particularly when there's a risk of miscalculation, and particularly when the PLA is acting as aggressively as it is with no reason whatsoever, that's the time that you want to be able to have a conversation, whether that conversation is over the phone or face-to-face. Now, this visit was very much in keeping with our larger, longer efforts to keep the lines of communication with the PRC open, and we'll see where this goes after that.
There's been some criticism, though, of the administration for sending officials on that anniversary. Was that decision a messaging misstep?
We would not call it a misstep. I mean, this was a long-planned trip. And that this is the way the schedule's worked out. But I think, honestly, people will be criticizing the timing of Tiananmen Square, just making a whole heck of a lot out of nothing. It wasn't time to do anything with the anniversary. And again, both these officials were nothing but candid and direct about our concerns, particularly of the intercepts. And of course, they brought up issues of human rights as well, as we always do. It's important to have these communication vehicles open. It's important to be able to have those kinds of conversations. And I think we're a whole lot less worried about the date on the calendar than we are about what's on the agenda when we start talking to them.
Aside from expressing verbal concerns and communicating with Beijing our displeasure with this, is the United States contemplating any kind of response to back China down from its increased aggressiveness?
We have continued to convey that message to them. I mean, obviously, we're not in control of their military and their military assets or their military leaders. We urge them to make better decisions about how they operate in international airspace and sea space. Whether they acknowledge those rules of the road or not, they are the rules of the road. And for a nation like China that continuously touts international law and sovereignty and territorial integrity, you would think that they would understand when a vessel or an aircraft is operating, in fact, in international airspace and sea space. We're going to keep standing up for those rules of the road. We're going to keep standing up for that international law. And as I said earlier, we're going to keep flying, we're going to keep sailing, we're going to keep operating where international law allows us to. It's an important concept. Freedom of navigation, whether it's in the air or on the sea, it's an important concept that the United States is going to continue to stand up for.
Thank you. On Ukraine, what is your understanding of whether the counteroffensive has begun? Has it begun?
I'm not going to be talking for the Ukrainian military. That's for them to speak to. And I think you heard them say earlier today that they're conducting some offensive operations, but I won't go beyond that. That's for them to speak to. What I can speak to is how hard we work to prepare them to be ready. So whether it's starting now or starting soon or whenever they decide to step off and whatever they decide to do, the president's confident that we did everything we could over the last 6-8 months or more to make sure that they had all the equipment, the training, the capabilities to be successful.
Thanks. Back to China. Do you think, though, all of these incidents are sort of an effort to intimidate or impact other channels of communication that you are trying to keep open, or do you see them compartmentalizing the military sort of realm from you guys trying to send Blinken over there and Yellen over there and Raimondo?
It's difficult to know for sure, Jenny. I mean, obviously, when you fly and sail as aggressively, and you saw the video for yourself, I mean, you don't need me to tell you how aggressive it was. You're trying to send some kind of a message. At the very least, it's a statement of some sort of displeasure about our presence in that part of the world. But as the president said very clearly in Hiroshima, we are a Pacific power. We're not going anywhere. We've got serious commitments in that part of the world. 5 of our 7 treaty alliances are in the Indo-Pacific. The vast majority of international economic trade flows through the Indo-Pacific. We've got real needs there, and we're going to stay there. And we're going to continue to strengthen and revitalize those alliances and partnerships. So, again, I can't speak for the PRC, wouldn't do it. But if the message that they're trying to send is that we're not welcome or our presence needs to be diminished or they want us to stop flying and sailing and operating in support of international law, not going to happen.
Would you say, though, as this is going on, that you're continuing to make progress in setting up these visits for Secretaries Blinken, Yellen, Raimondo,
Yeah, I think the fact that we were able to get 2 officials there to Beijing here while we're talking is a good sign. We want to keep those lines open. It's important, especially, as I said, now. So in general, without predicting what the next visit's going to be or by whom or when, yes, we are feeling like we are making progress in terms of opening up additional lines of communication.
Thank you, Karine, and thank you, John. I have 2 questions. National Security Advisor Sullivan said last weekend that the United States proposed to talk with China and Russia for nuclear disarmament. As you know, North Korea has nuclear weapons, whether we admit or not. Do you think nuclear disarmament talk with North Korea are possible to resolve the North Korean nuclear issues, or will you continue to wait for the talks with the North Korea?
It's not about waiting, Jenny. We have made it clear to Kim Jong-un and the regime in Pyongyang that we're willing to sit down without preconditions to talk about the denuclearization of the peninsula. That hasn't changed. It's not about waiting. We continue to send that message. What we haven't gotten is any indication from Pyongyang that they're willing to engage in those kinds of talks, but the offer still stands.
Yeah, John, I just want to go back on the China question. Is there some possibility of sequencing the visits differently? So Secretary Yellen has talked about sequencing being an issue, which sort of implied that, perhaps Blinken should go first. But given the challenges and the sort of political and realm and in the military realm, does it make sense to foreground the economic visits first, and have the economic team go first in terms of visiting?
Yeah, that's putting that cart way ahead of the horse right now. I think we're glad that we were able to get this visit in Beijing, and we'll see what they come back with. I mean, clearly one of the goals was to advance the communication with the PRC and see what we can do to get these higher level visits in play. We're just not there yet to talk about sequencing or specific scheduling. But, look, we're hopeful, and we'll see what they come back with and what we're able to talk about.
On the NATO, Jeff, can I just one more question? On the NATO Secretary General succession thing, this is an issue. Do you know whether the President intended to speak with the Danish Prime Minister about that today? And whether he has any thoughts about the importance of having a woman lead NATO for the first time?
That is not the purpose for the trip, not the purpose for the conversation. I sort of detailed in my opening statement what they're really going to focus on.
If I can shift gears to two different topics. One is, how do you all interpret Saudi Arabia's decision to unilaterally cut oil production?
We'll let them speak for their decision to cut production. What we're going to stay focused on is making sure that there's a balance between supply and demand. You see the price of oil was not dramatically affected by this announcement of these additional cuts, and the price of gasoline continues to come down. So the president's going to stay focused on what's best for the American people, what's best for our economy, and making sure that we're looking after those needs. And we'll let the Saudi Arabians speak for themselves in terms of this decision to cut.
And then a separate topic, I also wanted to ask you about another visit from a foreign leader coming up later this month, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Yeah. I know you all have made a very large focus on this administration on the divide between autocracies and democracies, and there have been questions about the health of India's democracy under Narendra Modi. I wanted you to articulate why have the invitation for the state dinner, and then I have a follow-up to it. Why
India is a strong partner on very, very many levels with the United States. You saw that in Shangri-La, Secretary Austin announced some additional defense cooperation now that we're going to pursue with India. Of course, there's an awful lot of economic trade between our two countries. India is a member of the Pacific Quad and a key friend and partner with respect to Indo-Pacific security. I could go on and on and on. There's innumerable reasons why India certainly matters, not just bilaterally between the two of our nations, but multilaterally on very many levels. And the president's looking forward very much to having Prime Minister Modi here to talk about all those issues and to advance and deepen that partnership and that friendship.
And then the follow is this administration at all concerned about the health of democracy in India?
India is a vibrant democracy. Anybody that happens to go to New Delhi can see that for themselves. And certainly I would expect that the strength and health of democratic institutions will be part of the discussion. And look, we never shy away. And you can do that with friends. You're supposed to do that with friends. You're never shy away from expressing concerns that we might have with anyone around the world. But this visit is really about advancing what is now and what we hope will be a deeper, stronger partnership and friendship going forward.
John, with Ukraine being an important topic this week, with the Prime Minister today and the UK here this week, when you consider the President's investment, the United States and allies' investment in Ukraine, does the President want to see Ukraine adhere to some of the President's wishes with respect to aggressive moves within Russia, with reports of the covert action on the part of Ukraine having an ability to act inside Russia?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, the Ukrainians have already spoken to some of these quote-unquote raids, and I know denied participation in them, so I'll let them speak to that. What I can say, Kelly, and we've said this before, we don't encourage, we don't enable, and we don't support strikes or attacks inside Russia. Our effort, and we have been exceedingly plain about this with the Ukrainians. Our effort is to support them in their self-defense, in defending their territory, their sovereignty. That's what's been violated here by Mr. Putin and Russia, and that's what we're helping them get back, their independence, their territorial integrity, and that's where the focus is. And I'm not telling you anything here in this briefing room that we haven't said privately to the Ukrainians in terms of expressing our concerns about that. They know our concerns. They have provided us, all the way up to President Zelensky, assurances that they will respect those concerns.
Thank you, John. I hope you can clarify one thing. On Taiwan, President Biden in Japan, during news conference, when asked about Taiwan, he said that there is a clear understanding among most of our allies that if China were to act unilaterally, there will be a response. What did he say? What did he mean by response? Was that sanctions? What did he mean unilateral, military intervention?
Yeah, I'm not going to go beyond what the President said. He has said that before, that we don't want to see the status quo changed unilaterally. We certainly don't want to see it changed by force. And the other thing the President said, and he said a gazillion times, is there's no reason for it to, because nothing's changed about our one China policy. We don't support independence for Taiwan. Now, we obviously do support their self-defense capabilities, and we'll continue to do that. But there's no reason for this tension in the Taiwan Strait to devolve into any kind of conflict.
Jeremy.
Hey, John. I understand that you don't want to characterize whether or not we're witnessing the beginning of this counteroffensive.
That's right, I don't.
But is this within the time frame of when Ukrainian officials told Americans that they could potentially begin a counteroffensive? Are we within that time frame?
I'm just not going to go there, Jeremy. I mean, they need to have the right and the responsibility to speak for their own military operations and how they're conducting them and where and when. And it wouldn't be appropriate for us to speak to that.
Okay. And secondly, President Zelensky told the Wall Street Journal that he needs more Patriot missile batteries and air defense to protect both civilians in Ukrainian cities as well as frontline troops from Russian air power. Is the U.S. in the process of identifying additional Patriot batteries that they could potentially send or additional air defense? Could we see some of that?
What I would tell you is we've been prioritizing air defense now for many, many months. And in this last package, one I think we just talked about last week, there were additional interceptor missiles. So without getting ahead of announcements to come, I can assure you that air defense remains top on the list of the kinds of capabilities that we're going to continue to make sure Ukraine has.
Are Patriot batteries, I know that those are tough because they're fairly scarce, so is that a possibility?
They are. There's not a lot of them, either in our inventory or the inventory of nations that have purchased them. But again, I don't want to get ahead of where we are. We know air defense is a priority, and we know how well the Patriots have been performing inside Ukraine, which is, again, why we provided some additional interceptor missiles last week. All I can tell you is that we're going to prioritize it going forward. I just don't want to get ahead of announcements.
Go ahead, Steve, and then we'll go back.
Thanks. John, if I could ask you about the NORAD intercept yesterday.
Yes, sir.
If you could help us understand, there was a period of time yesterday where it wasn't clear what was going on. We think we have a sense of what happened, a tragic incident. But can you walk us through, maybe give us a tick-tock of NSC involvement in this? And was there a point at which yesterday the Commander-in-Chief was informed that there was a wayward plane headed for Washington and might have
Well, the President was certainly briefed and informed. I don't have like I should have brought it with me. I don't have like an exact tick-tock minute by minute, but I can walk you through a little bit of how it transpired in the process. So before I do that, though, I do want to express our deepest condolences to the family members, the loved ones of those who died.
Old man Walter was playing golf when it happened.
Terrible news. Nobody wants to get that, and we need to keep them front and center as we talk about this. But this is part of, you might remember after 9/11, Operation Noble Eagle was stood up, and it's an organized operational way of policing airspace, particularly sensitive airspace over the United States in the wake of 9/11. And so there are Noble Eagle-like incidents that happen from time to time where private aircraft wander into secure airspace and we have to notify them to leave. And 99 times out of 100, that's all it takes is a quick call on the radio. Hey, you're getting into some airspace you don't need to be in, and usually that takes care of it. But under this process, if a pilot is non-responsive to those requests and continues on course and speed and altitude to enter restricted airspace, then there are, under NORAD's authorities, there are the responsibilities to put aircraft up to again send the message and get a different outcome, and that's what happened here. 6 F-16s from 3 different air bases on the East Coast. Certainly, Joint Base Andrews was one of those 3. Launched into the air. 6 F-16s, 3 air bases launched to intercept this particular Cessna citation. As I understand it, the 2 from Andrews were the first ones to reach the Cessna, and they had to turn on the speed to get to them, which is why people here in the district area heard a sonic boom. They had to break the sound barrier to get up the speed to get to the aircraft in question. When they did, they did exactly what they were supposed to do: try to get on the radio, communicate to the pilot. That wasn't working. Made themselves visible. That didn't work, and tragically, it ended. Obviously, in the crash and the death of all on board. But throughout that process, there's a conference call that's set up when you have a Noble Eagle incident where NORAD's on the phone, DOD's on the phone, NSC was on the phone in real time, monitoring it and getting real time updates from the pilots. In this case, these 2 F-16 pilots, and so that everybody's in the loop, literally in real time, and that's what happened yesterday. And again, at the appropriate time.
They just swapped out our signing person.
While he was at JBA, or was it happening?
I honestly don't know the exact moment at which the president was informed, but he was briefed on the incident.
Okay, John, come back.
Thank you, Karine. Thank you, John. I wanted to ask you, going back to the China.
And we got a third one.
Various episodes which have occurred over the course of the past few weeks involving China's military and our military. At what point does the president pick up the phone, reach out directly with President Xi, and say, enough? You can't continue these episodes for all the reasons that you talked about earlier. At what point does the president himself get involved in this?
We have sent that message directly to the PRC, as I said earlier, through various vehicles, including the conversations that these 2 officials, one from the NSC and one from the State Department, are having at Beijing as we speak. The president will have another conversation with President Xi, and he'll do it at the appropriate time. And I'm sure that when he does, he'll be just as candid with President Xi then as he has been in the past in terms of our concerns, the challenges in this bilateral relationship, but also about the opportunities that still remain and we want to continue to pursue.
Right behind you, go ahead.
Thank you. Just follow-up question on China. I feel we're getting mixed messages from China that while Secretary of Defense Austin is not being able to meet his counterpart in Singapore, and yet the credentialing Assistant Secretary is visiting China. So my question is, do you think it's more difficult to establish a communication channel, military communication rather than diplomatic?
Yeah, that has proven more difficult. Sure. I mean, go back in time to when then Speaker Pelosi visited Taiwan. The Chinese, in retribution for that, shut down some lines of communication, and one of them was the mill-to-mill line. and that's still not open. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we want to get Secretary Blinken back over to Beijing, because that was part of his task, was to see if he can't open up some of those lines. Now, it shouldn't take the Secretary of State to fly to Beijing.
Are we going to hear from KJP today, or is this our new press secretary?
Secretary Austin has, for his own part, tried to get those military-to-military lines back open for himself, and we have been unsuccessful. And that's unfortunate, particularly because of why we spent the first 10 minutes in this press conference talking about these two dangerous, unsafe, unprofessional intercepts. It's exactly because of that you want to be able to have open lines of communication in the military channel. So yes, it has been more difficult, and we hope that that can change.
Lying makes you weak.
Hi. Could you give us a little more preview on Rishi Sunak's visit? And apparently he is also pressing for his candidate for NATO Secretary General. So, and he's apparently actually going to bring it up. So, what do you have to say about that? Ben Wallace, does that sound good to you?
I'll let Prime Minister Sunak speak to what he intends to raise with the President. The President's very much looking forward to this visit as well. I mean, obviously, the United Kingdom is a strong ally and terrific friend on so many fronts. I have absolutely zero doubt that the war in Ukraine will be a prime issue of discussion, and the Brits have been right there, literally at the fore in terms of helping Ukraine for the last 15 months. And I have no doubt that they'll talk about ways in which we can work together going forward for the future. I just don't have anything on the next NATO SecGen to speak to. The President hasn't made a decision about who the United States would support, and I certainly don't want to get out ahead of him on that. I will say, while I've got the chance, that the President remains very grateful and appreciative of the leadership of Jens Stoltenberg as Secretary General. Has been extended, 2 or 3 times, I think, and he's just done a masterful job, particularly when you look at what the alliance has been able to do unilaterally, sometimes bilaterally, in terms of supporting Ukraine. So an awful lot of NATO business to be done, and I'm sure that they'll discuss a whole range of those issues, but I don't want to get ahead of that discussion.
On the sonic boom situation, was there any effort yesterday to evacuate the White House or the Vice President's residence as this plane crossed to the airspace? And if not, why not?
I'm going to let the Secret Service talk about security here at the White House. That's not something for me to tackle.
Is there any review now of how this was handled, if the response was appropriate, given the risks?
I'd refer you to DOD to talk to whatever after action they might do. It's not uncommon after any operation for the military to take a look at how it performed. Having observed this myself for many years, what I saw was just a classic textbook response to, in this case, what was an unresponsive pilot, an aircraft, again, with a completely tragic outcome.
Thank you so much, John. On Iran, Iran is reopening its embassy in Saudi Arabia after a 7-year break, and it was a Chinese broker deal. I just wanted to get the U.S.'s assessment on what this could mean, what the implications are. Will this help the security situation in the Persian Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz? Will the U.S. decrease its maritime presence in that area? And how could this affect the Abraham Accords?
Which one of those 7 do you want me to take first?
All of them.
Look, we'll let the Iranians and the Saudis speak more specifically to this. What I would say is, just in general, is we support more integration, more dialogue.
All right, I'm going to grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
More transparency throughout the region. And if the Iranians open up an embassy in Riyadh, can help increase transparency of what they're doing and why, if it can de-escalate tensions, if it can lead to a reduction in their destabilizing behavior, including intercepting maritime shipping as they attempted to do over the last several days in the Strait of Hormuz, then all that's to the positive.
Karen.
Thanks. 2 questions on Ukraine, if I can. To follow up on Jeremy's question, in that Wall Street Journal interview, Zelensky also said that Russia's dominance of the skies over the battle zone will mean many Ukrainian soldiers will die in the counteroffensive. Does the White House agree with that assessment that he gave?
I certainly wouldn't think that it would be appropriate for us to lend veracity to estimates by the Ukrainian military in terms of what casualties they might take. That's really for them to speak to. Again, bear with me, because I know this is going to sound like I've said this a gazillion times, but we have done everything we can to make them ready. And that's not just about weapon systems, it's about training and how to use it. And more critically, it's about how to integrate those capabilities on the battlefield in what we call combined arms maneuver, which is what they believe they're going to need to execute to be able to conduct successful counteroffensive ground operations. And we have really done a lot to help get them ready for that. But as to how many casualties they might take, I think that's really certainly nothing we would speculate on. And in war, those things are unpredictable, and it's a lot of it's going to depend on how and where they conduct these operations and what kind of resistance they face from Russian forces.
Well, second one, could you give your assessment, the administration's assessment, on how significant the recent and ongoing gains are by Ukraine around the city of Bakhmut?
I would just tell you that again, I don't want to armchair this thing, day by day. There has been continued vicious fighting in the Donbass area. Certainly, Bakhmut did not see much of a reprise of the violence. The Ukrainians have been fighting bravely for Bakhmut, even as they withdrew forces. They still stayed in the vicinity of Bakhmut. I'll let them speak to the reasons why that's important and why they're conducting those operations the way that they are. Again, our focus is on just making sure that they're ready.
Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you. There was a Microsoft Outlook outage this morning. Is the NSC monitoring any reports of foul play involved?
Not that I'm aware of.
And I asked last week about Mauritius. I wonder if you had a chance to read up on it. I mean,
you know what? It was a second today where I'm thinking, I wonder if I should make myself ready on Mauritius. And then I thought, nah, there's like no way that question's going to come up again. So I do not have an answer for you, brother. I'm sorry. I'll have to get back to you.
Thank you.
On Saudi Arabia, again, on the decision to cut production, was that any advance notice given to the administration on sort of what their thinking was on that? And I guess more broadly, what you can share as to how it plays into this sort of ongoing review of the U.S.-Saudi relationship?
I know of no advance notice, nor would there need to be. I mean, that's not that was a unilateral decision by a sovereign state, so I'll let them speak to that. And we've talked about this relationship before. I mean, as I said, I think a few weeks ago, there's going to be issues where we don't agree with Saudi Arabia, and we have the kind of relationship that we can express those concerns directly, and we do all the time. But we're focused on the future. Saudi Arabia is still a strategic partner, has been for 8 decades, will be for the next 8 decades, and we're managing that relationship going forward. That's what our focus is on.
A couple more, James.
Thank you very much, Karine, as always. Admiral, thank you. I want to ask one question about Ukraine's strategy and one question about the series of national security leaks that were first detected in early April, if I may. On Ukraine, I wonder if you could explain a little more why it is that the United States urges Ukraine against the conduct of cross-border operations. Wouldn't it be the swiftest way to bring this war to a conclusion if Russia were made to feel even a fraction of the kind of pain that it has inflicted on Ukrainian territory?
We have been pretty consistent about this, James. We don't.
The rationale is what I'm asking.
We've been consistent about the rationale too. I think we can all agree, no matter where you stand on the war in Ukraine, that having it escalate to be exactly what Putin has claimed it to be from the beginning, a fight against the West versus Russia, or United States versus Russia, or NATO versus Russia, is not good for anybody. It's certainly not good for the Ukrainian people. It's not good for our European allies and partners. It's not good for the Russian people. So we don't want to see this war escalate beyond the degree that it's escalated before, and that's been our justification since the very beginning.
On the national security leaks, I wonder if you have today any better sense of how damaging to national security they were. I ask this because I was struck by the divergence, if you will, in your comments and those from President Biden on the subject. You came to this room and you pleaded with all of us not to publish this material, even if we came into possession of it, presumably because of the damage it would cause. And in fact, even in court filings in the ongoing prosecution, federal prosecutors are referring to the great damage caused and the potential for greater damage. And yet we saw President Biden say that there was nothing of great consequence in these leaks. How could that be true?
Both are true. First of all, when we made those comments, it was at the very beginning of these disclosures. We didn't know the full scope of what was out there. We didn't know what hadn't been made public yet. And the classification on a lot of this intelligence gave us proper pause for concern. And I still would make the same point I made before. We would urge you not to publish this material. We don't think that this material belongs in the public domain. That said, the more we have come to learn over time, and this is what the president was referring to, is that much of the information that's out there, and I say this with the caveat, James, that I still don't think we know for sure that there isn't more coming. But what we've seen thus far, now weeks afterward, it's a snapshot in time, a very distinct period of time, 6-8 weeks worth, and certainly events and follow-on intelligence assessments have simply moved on from where those assessments were, those ones that were published. The other thing I'd say is that many of them were based on unfinished intelligence. It's no different than, in many ways, the way you guys do your job. When you get a source that tells you something, you do the right thing and you follow it up and you check it with 2 or 3 other sources until you triangulate yourselves and get where you're comfortable with what you've got, right? Well, a lot of that
in a love triangle
on early reporting that had not been corroborated.
How can you tell us that you are not sure that there isn't more material coming? You have not turned off this spigot, even with the arrest of this airman?
What I can tell you is we can't say definitively that there couldn't be more documents out there, James. I wish we could have a different answer to your question, but that's the honest answer. Now we haven't seen many more disclosures in recent weeks, so that's a positive. But it's not like we're gonna go whistling past the graveyard and just say, okay, we're done. I mean, we're gonna keep looking.
Yeah, Diana.
Okay, one question on the House oversight investigation, please. As you know, on May 10th, they issued a report showing that the Biden family allegedly funneled $10 million into their bank accounts while Joe Biden was vice president. Members of the committee have said there may be several national security concerns at hand here with their alleged ties to the foreign countries. Admiral, have you read the report yourself, and do you personally think that there are any national...
There's Simon.
No and no.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Karine. So nice of you. In a letter to the president, 6 congressmen requested urgent action to stop human rights abuse by Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Also urged President Biden for measures including...
They want to answer that real question.
...to give the people of Bangladesh the best possible chance for a free and fair parliamentary election. What is your response about this lawmaker's recent letter to the president?
Look, we've been consistent, and I'm aware of the communication. We've been consistent on the need for Bangladesh to hold free and fair elections. And to demonstrate that commitment, the State Department, as you know, recently announced a 3C visa policy that will restrict visa issuances to individuals who undermine Bangladesh's elections.
Okay, Andrew, last question.
Thank you, Karine. John, a few weeks ago I asked you about the case of a former Afghan Air Force pilot who is facing deportation from the UK to Rwanda. He had also requested aid from the US. You said you'd look into it. Thank you for that. Now, the Air Force is not apparently cooperating in making some of the officers who work with him available to at least speak with us, in part because, I'm quoting from an email here, the publicity may invite more requests for support. Now, you previously said that the U.S. government wants any former Afghan servicemen who served alongside U.S. and British forces to request support to come to the U.S. to get asylum. Has there been a policy change? Do we no longer want requests for support from publicity in cases such as these?
Well, without confirming the Air Force's response, which I had not seen, the short answer to your question, no, I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. And without seeing it, I won't speak to it. But the short answer to your question is no, there's no policy. We continue to want to see our Afghan allies get out, be able to have a life of freedom. And certainly if they want that life here in the United States, we're still willing and able to help provide it to them. No, there's been no change in policy at all.
Are they
okay,
friend
thanks
or
everybody.
foe? Question on Sudan. Prostitute.
Thank you so much, Admiral. Go ahead.
She sounds drowsy.
Crazy what's happening here.
Can you clarify one thing when Kirby was describing, in response to Portnoy's question about the chain of events yesterday? Did the president have any role in the decision to scramble F-16s, or is that process self-contained? Does NORAD and DOD, NSC,
So what I can say for sure is that the president was they're certainly briefed and throughout the process and kept abreast. Can't speak to the exact process and what comes first and how it all runs down. Clearly, this is the Department of Defense that kind of certainly led this operation, but can't speak to where the president kind of engaged or not. I can tell you that he was certainly kept abreast.
One other question, looking ahead to the trip on Friday when he goes to Fort Liberty, given that it was just renamed, will the president in his remarks get into the reasons behind the renaming, the whole debate over being woke, or will his remarks just be a tribute to troops?
So, as you know, that's a few days away. So we'll have more to share and certainly preview on what the president's going to say on Friday when he's in North Carolina. Just don't have anything right now. And as you can imagine, the remarks are continuously being worked on and edited by the president, but I just don't have anything to share specifically on what he's going to lay out and speak to. All right, go ahead.
The cabinet meeting tomorrow, anything you can tell us about the theme or the focus of that?
Sure, I can share a couple of things about tomorrow. As you all know, the president's going to be convening his cabinet secretaries tomorrow in the cabinet room, as he does from time to time, to discuss the progress we've made in investing in America. That includes the 13 million jobs created in the last 2.5 years under this president. Unemployment being below 4%.
She hit the blunt too hard before she came out on stage today.
For 11 months in a row, and more than $470 billion in private sector investments. And let's not forget the bipartisan budget agreement that the president signed on Saturday, which will also be a conversation to include just the progress that we've made in this last 2 years of this administration, and also the priorities and the funding levels and all of the historic pieces of legislation that the president was able to do just the last 2 years. So, and that's including ending COVID-19, public health emergency, and Title 42 at the border. And what you can expect as well is he will be talking to his cabinet secretaries about the next 100 days, which we think is incredibly important as we move forward with this rest of this year, unleashing more infrastructure, clean energy, manufacturing investments across the country, and our work, let's not forget, to curb gun violence as well, and also what we're seeing across the country on what's the attacks that we're seeing on women's reproductive rights. So that certainly will be part of the conversation that you all will hear and see from the president tomorrow.
Also,
Go ahead. Yes.
Journalists at Gannett newspapers are on strike today. Just wondering if the president has any message for them. Does he support them?
So, as you know, the president, when it comes to these types of issues, he clearly hopes that they continue to have the conversation and they come together in good faith. And certainly, he always supports in this particular journalist to make sure that they get a fair share here. Go ahead.
Oh, they brought Gorilla Hands back. All right. Just swapping out the signing people.
Approved to be his cabinet secretary.
Yes, he has confidence that she will get through, and as you can imagine, that she has the support of this administration to get her through, to get her confirmed. She will be in attendance tomorrow. As you know, she's the acting secretary of the Department of Labor, and he has confidence, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that she actually becomes secretary.
He nominated her at the end of February. It's now June, so what is he doing to help speed this process up?
Well, look, Julie Su, as you've heard me say many times from here, was confirmed, supported as a deputy secretary at the Labor by all Senate Democrats. That occurred when the first time she went through this process, clearly as deputy, and has garnered the support of businesses, labor, several organizations across the spectrum. If you think about Jean Soroka, the executive director of Port of Los Angeles, recently wrote that Julie Su is a consensus builder whose impact has played out in real time throughout the supply chain industry. For these reasons, among others, no one is better suited nor better qualified than Julie Su for the job of Secretary of Labor. So this is a full court press to get Julie confirmed. Outside groups continue to also push her forward, and certainly she will get the support from the White House as well and from this president. So we are confident, and we're going to continue moving forward.
The last thing on this topic, does the president feel after the debt ceiling negotiations that he has a little cachet here to use with moderate Democrats such as Senators Manchin and Sinema?
Well, look, I mean, if you look at the last 2 years of what this president, more than 2 years now, what this president has been able to do, the bill that he signed into law just a couple of days ago, the budget negotiation.
They keep swapping the sign person.
350 bipartisan piece of legislation, and so he's able to get that done when people said that he would not be able to get that done, which is bring both sides together. And he's worked with Democrats across the ideological spectrum over the past 2 years as well to get things done. You think about the Inflation Reduction Act, that is something that Senator Manchin, right? He steered that through, and something that the president worked very closely with him on. You think about the American Rescue Plan. There's been many times where you've seen Democrats come together to deliver for the American people, and let's not forget the bipartisanship that this president, and because of his leadership, has been able to do. So yes, he believes that we can continue to get things done, and there's a long list of legislative agenda that he wants to see done. As I just mentioned, gun reform is being one of them. As I mentioned, reproductive rights.
They fixed your green screen.
He believes that we can continue to deliver for the American people. Go ahead.
Karine, just another labor issue. The National Retail Federation has asked the White House to intervene in the stalled West Coast port negotiations, or labor negotiations there. Do you have intention of doing that? Are you concerned that the problem there could actually exacerbate the supply chain issues that you have just gotten ahead of?
So look, certainly we're monitoring these discussion or this situation very closely, and we're going to continue to monitor. That's what we've been doing. And so the way that we see our role here is we know that the parties who are negotiating, as we know, negotiations are very hard, as we've talked about many times from here in the last couple of weeks, but they have overcome some major sticking points already and are continuing to address most difficult issues right now. But what we see is the best way to move forward is for both sides, or for all sides, to continue to work to come to the table and come to a solution here. And so that's what we are going to continue to encourage all parties to work in good faith toward a mutually beneficial resolution that ensures that workers get the fair benefits, quality of life, and wages that they deserve. And that's what we believe that we're going to continue to be very vocal about.
Can I ask you about the latest flight of migrants, this time to Sacramento? I understand that the White House, the state authorities are investigating where that flight originated and who paid for the flight to go, whether there was some involvement by Florida. Are you in close touch with the California authorities, and do you have any initial findings now?
So yes, we are in close touch with state officials on the issue that you just laid out. Look, as you just mentioned, Andrea, there is an investigation currently happening, and so certainly we'll refer you to them on any specifics on the outcome of what they're looking at. And so I've said it many times from here, repeatedly from this podium, that busing or flying migrants around the country without any coordination with the federal government, we've talked about this, state or local officials as well, is dangerous and unacceptable. And we'll continue to be very, very clear about that. It is dangerous and unacceptable because you're putting people's lives at risk, and it's dangerous and unacceptable because you're actually putting a lot of pressure on these states and local areas. And so Again, we're in touch with state officials to offer any assistance that they may need, but I would refer you to them on any specifics on the investigation. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Thanks,
and I'll
Karine.
come to that.
One of the results of these budget and debt ceiling negotiations, beyond averting default, seems to have been that there's a bit more goodwill that's been built up between the President and Speaker McCarthy and their teams. So I'm wondering, do you guys see any opportunities for bipartisan legislation going forward, and what is next on this administration's legislative agenda?
Look, like I said, we've seen under this president, there's been about 350 pieces of bipartisan legislation that this president has signed into law. Many of those were historic pieces of legislation. When you think about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, Inflation Reduction Act, all these pieces of legislation that's going to create good-paying jobs, lower healthcare costs for Americans, lower energy costs for Americans, Chips and Science Act. When you think about manufacturing jobs, creating.
He's historically running the country into the ground.
These are all important things, important issues that the president wants to continue to work on, to continue to implement. And I talked about the gun reform. We believe that there is a common sense approach here that we can move forward and work with Congress on. Reproductive rights, we believe that this is something that we need to continue to work very hard towards, making sure that the wealthy pay their their fair share as well, and not just leave it on the little guy. And so, look, we're going to continue to work on an economy that works for everyone, making sure that we build it from the bottom up, middle out. Those are the things that the president feels that he needs to continue to work towards. Man. And so, yeah, there are places that we see that could be a bipartisanship here. If we're really serious about the deficit,
America
really serious
great
about,
again.
Making sure that we reduce the deficit, the president put forth a plan, a budget plan March 9th, on how we can reduce the deficit by $3 trillion in the next 10 years. And so, yeah, there are ways that we believe that we can move forward here with Congress.
Any plans for the President and the Speaker to meet again in a non-crisis, non-emergency setting?
No plans yet.
And then secondly, last night during a CNN town hall, former Governor Nikki Haley suggested that allowing transgender girls into female locker rooms is driving up suicidal thoughts among teenage girls. Wondering if you have any comments.
So, look, I'm not going to go beyond what we've talked about when it comes to Department of Education, when it comes to this president, as it relates to that particular issue. But look, I think more broadly, what we have seen from Republicans just across the country as it relates to transgender youth, as it relates to the LGBTQI plus community, we've seen more than 600 bills. Many of those are targeted at transgender youth. And that is something that the president's going to continue to speak out against. It is appalling what we're seeing, the hate, the attack on this community. And so the president's going to be very clear that he supports the LGBTQ plus community. This is Pride Month, as you know. He's going to continue to lift up the community and all their accomplishments, celebrate them. And so I'll just leave it there for now.
Nikki Haley also last night refused to answer a question about whether she would sign a bill for a 6-week abortion ban if it came to her desk, saying that the administration has not yet outlined their position on whether they would sign bills allowing abortions at 37, 38, 39 weeks. Could you give us the sort of correct position of the administration in terms of what kind, if any, kinds of restrictions on abortion the administration supports?
So I didn't watch this town hall, so can't really speak to exactly what she said. What I can speak to, what the president has said, which is that he will continue to call on Congress to restore Roe v. Wade. And so if you know the particulars of Roe v. Wade, you see what the president stands. So I'll just leave it there for now.
And one other one on Nikki Haley. She also said that a vote for President Biden is a vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. What do you say to anyone who is questioning whether the president would survive a full 4-year term?
So let me just say this. I'm not going to comment on the 2024. She is a candidate, so I want to be very careful here. And we do follow the Hatch Act, so I want to be really, really mindful here. Look, this is a president, if you look at his track record, and I'm saying this more broadly, if you look at what he's been able to do, he has been able to push forward and get done historic pieces of legislation. He has gotten more done than any other president. When you think about the infrastructure legislation, when you think about the last president, it was a joke. We were talking about infrastructure week. It was literally a joke. Now you hear this president talking about infrastructure decade. When you think
She wasn't smoking weed before she came out. She was smoking crack.
lower cost for Americans, that matters. That matters to the American people. When you think about actually creating jobs, good paying jobs, which is part of this president's economic policy, that matters to the American people. The president literally just was able to get done a bipartisan agreement on the budget, which many people didn't think he would be able to get done. And this president was able to get done. So look, this is a president that's been attacked during 2020, where people said, oh, he's not gonna win. He's not able to get it done. There's no way he's gonna be the next president, and he made it happen. In 2022, the same thing. There's gonna be a red wave. It's not gonna happen. Democrats are in trouble.
I don't think that's quite how it went, KJP.
And make sure that there was a message out there.
Pretty sure there was more to it than that.
What he's been able to do and what Democrats were able to do, he really had one of the best midterm outcome for a new Democratic president in 60 years. In 60 years. And so, look, I'll leave you with a quote here. Here's something that I think that was said a couple days ago. It's a Huffington Post headline. After calling Joe Biden senile, Republicans complain he outsmarted them. I'll leave it there. Okay.
But to follow up on this, because the other argument that was being made in that comment by that candidate is that a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Vice President Harris to possibly become president. Does the White House see those continued attacks from Republicans and, frankly, comments from Democrats concerned about that as sexist, racist, politically convenient?
So, look, going to be really careful. 2024, not going to speak to 2024 from here. What I can speak to, what I'll say more broadly, is that the Vice President has been a partner. Has been a partner to this president.
It must be easy to lie when you make telling the truth a punishable offense.
To important decisions that matter to the American people. This is something that those are issues that the president has talked to with the vice president. And so you've heard him say that. You've seen her do that out there on the road, or whether it's even here speaking to different issues that are incredibly important to the American people. So I will leave it there, but not going to go into a tit for tat. What does this mean? What is this out?
You mean you're not going to do your job? That's what you should just say.
Here in this White House, and how they have worked very closely to get all of the things that I just laid out get done on behalf of the American people.
I had one other. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee says they're going to vote to hold the FBI director in contempt on Thursday for withholding documents about some uncorroborated corruption allegations dating back to when the president was vice president. Does the White House have any comment on the Oversight Committee's continued focus on this?
So I would have to refer you to the FBI. They've actually put out a statement on this, and I would refer you to them. All right, go ahead.
Thanks, you mentioned Pride Month a minute ago. I wanted to ask, the Pentagon announced last week that it will no longer allow drag shows to be hosted at military facilities. Did the president or the White House, were they consulted at all on this decision, or do you have any response to what it says that was announced, as the White House is trying to celebrate Pride Month?
So that was a DOD decision, so questions related to that, certainly I would refer you to them. I'll say a couple of things here. I want to start out by saying that this is a president who is proud of the LGBTQI people serving in our nation's military. As Secretary Austin has expressed in his Pride Month statement that he put out just last week, the Biden-Harris administration will celebrate LGBTQI plus service members' contributions during Pride with Pride across federal.
She's rattled.
At the Department of Defense, and also, as the Secretary said last week as well in his statement, and I'll quote him, "Who you love or how you identify has nothing to do with how bravely you fight for our country." And so again, they make these decisions, the DOD makes these decisions independently, so I would have to refer to them on any specific questions. Go ahead, Ed, in the back.
I can ask you about China, if I could. So the president says we're in a competition with China. He's been in office 28 months. Are we winning the competition?
So I would point you to the 800,000 manufacturing jobs that were created here. I would point you to the Chips and Science Act that was bipartisan.
The Chips and Salsa Act. Thank you so much, Mike, for gifting 10 memberships over on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mike. For all you hooligans that claimed that gifted membership, make sure you thank Mike.
Unemployment at a record low. And so the president has done the work to make sure that we bring those jobs back. You see the investment. We talk about investing in America.
How much crap do you think Old Man Walter's installed in his pants since he's been in office? Did we go by pounds or? I'm not sure.
Prove that point that I'm making.
So he feels like we're winning that competition.
What we feel like is we are in a place where we are have created an economy that the president hopes that will work for everyone, that we don't leave anyone behind, that we create good paying jobs, that we have manufacturing come back to America. And we see that. We see those investments. We see companies saying that they're willing to invest and create jobs. We see the 800,000 manufacturing jobs out of the 13 million jobs that this president was able to create in just 2 years. In just 2 years, that's historical. No other president has been able to do that even in 4 years. And so, yes, we're going to continue to be competitive. And I think that's incredibly important to the American people and to how we see the economy moving forward for this country. Thanks, everybody.
Lying makes you weak.
Thank you.
Well, Simon was there, but of course he didn't get called on. KJP doesn't want that. No, doesn't want that. No real questions answered. Of course, that's how it goes. I mean, they were honest about how they support people that hurt kids, but that's about all the truth that they had for us. Just reading through the chat really quick before we move to this next video. Paul, more jobs were lost. She's lying. Oh, yeah. First day in office, he cut off 4,000 jobs or 40,000 jobs or something with just the pipeline. I think it was 40,000 jobs. But then he's done more damage than that. Just their desire for electrical everything is shutting down stuff all across the country. It was either Friday or Saturday we covered a ferry that can't even can't even run its business anymore because they need to convert the ferry to an electrical version of itself, and that's only $2.5 million, and they have 3 ferries that they need to convert, or else they can't run business anymore. And stuff like that hurting people all over the country as well. They're hurting jobs. They're not helping anything. Helping people lose track of reality. Out there supporting shapeshifters as they hurt people's kids. Supporting child mutilation. They're just terrible people. Really, they're just terrible people. And he cracked me up. It'd probably be hate speech if I said that out loud. It's not good. It's not good. This next video we have is titled Former Vice President Pence files paperwork launching 2024 presidential bid to challenge the Orange Eagle himself. I don't know anybody that's going Pence. Nope. I don't even think it's a real thing.
12 News, your local election headquarters. Former Vice President Mike Pence filing federal election paperwork today, declaring his campaign for president in the 2024 Republican primary. That's what people familiar with his plans are telling the Associated Press. So he's set to officially launch his bid for the Republican nomination with a video and a kickoff event in Iowa Wednesday. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie also expected to announce his candidacy this week to challenge former President Donald Trump.
Why is there so many people going to Iowa to make these announcements? Is there something special about Iowa? So I feel like we're hearing a lot of announcements come from politicians visiting Iowa. So how many of you hooligans got Pence? You know, when it's time to cast your vote and whatnot. I remember what the chat looked like on back in January on the 6th when it was a nice little rally we had going on. Turned into a nice little tour of the Capitol. I remember what everybody was saying about Pence back then. Bobby Mike Simp 2024. Getting him locked in. I don't know anybody that's going for Pence. What's up, Jamie and Deborah? Happy freedom. Serum. People should go to Pence's rallies with huge flies and poop signs. Is he going to hold rallies? Is he going to go with the old man Walter, stance? You just hang out in the basement, release videos on YouTube, and get 80 billion. Oh, a little piece of papers in your favor. Destiny Gal is the first state to announce election results. I see. Did not know that. I was wondering, I was seeing a pattern. Lenny, Pence rode a Harley in Iowa, leather vest and boots. He had the assless chaps like Prince. Moog. Pence for dishwasher. Do you think he can wash dishes? He seems like one of those people who wash dishes and then put them away dirty. Like, just didn't do a good job, knows he didn't do a good job, but still puts them away as if he did a good job. Just a child at heart. What's up, Destiny Gal? Happy freedom. That's true, Miss Jamie. That's true. Yep, we'll have to get our campaign going, making punches in the face great again. Maybe throwing t-shirts into the crowd for all the topless hooligans. It'll look like Mardi Gras, but we're holding rallies. Even the Orange Eagle will show up and be like, damn, I didn't know you guys got down like that. Snooks. Robert Kennedy Jr. said, F that, he'll debate. Yeah, I don't know, I heard Blue Team's not even debating. I thought we covered a video saying something about that. Edward, you could say, you could be chosen, you just gotta say you're Blue Team. It's true. It's true. I wonder who Orange Eagle would pick for VP. Mr. Beansy Beans, they want to push Old Man Walter for 24. Yeah. Yep. Old Man Walter, he couldn't hang in the ring with Orange Eagle. He didn't do well last time, but this time would just be a total embarrassment. It would be abuse. It would be abuse. There'd be no debating going on. It'd be Old Man Walter staggering and Orange Eagle talking over him, just crushing him with facts. Snooks, Candy, well, he's doing his own thing. We'll see if we can cover that. I don't know how much of the debates we're going to be able to cover on YouTube. They're changing all their rules and stuff. Hydrodynamic, the woman from Arizona. It would be good. Lake would be decent VP, I think. She's mouthy, but she's got fire in her. She's obviously willing to fight. She keeps taking her case to the courts. She's done it twice. She's lost twice, but she keeps fighting. It's good. It's a good sign of heart. Robert, make Mike Tyson punches in the face great again. It's a little long, but we'll see if it'll fit on the hats out there campaigning. I can't campaign until March. I gotta wait till March. I'm not old enough yet. Getting there. Serum, Old Man Walter, 100% is not going to run in 24. Insert some made-up emergency why here. I think we're going to be stuck with Hyena Harris. What's up, Mad Line? Happy freedom. Yeah, I didn't know that about Iowa. I just was seeing the pattern that all the announcements are coming out of Iowa, and I'm like, what's so special about that place? I don't know anything about Iowa. Edward, you get AC supplies? Not yet. It's cooled off today. I might make a trip to Walmart. We'll see how it goes. Relic land grabs going on all over right now between Bill Gates and China. 24/7, you could be alderman. I don't know what an alderman is. I'm gonna have to look that up. Are you getting me in trouble? I should have Googled it before I said it. Miss Jamie, it'll be Newsom if not Old Man Walter. That's a scary thought. Could you imagine the whole country being ran like California? I mean, it kinda is, isn't it? We're almost there. They're trying. Alright, so this next video is titled Chicago Sees Another Violent Weekend. Don't they got a new mayor? Isn't Beetlejuice out? And now they got, I don't know, a Fetterman-like fellow. Fetterman 2.
He has not been able to escape the cycle of violence over the weekend, and Joni is live with the details on that. Joni?
Good morning. 9 people died, more than 40 people shot in Chicago over the weekend. There was a memorial on the west side that turned deadly. A woman died. 6 others were shot early yesterday morning. 25-year-old Terry A. Adams was found unresponsive after shots were fired at Iowa Street and Cicero at 1 a.m. Sunday. She was attending a memorial for a former boyfriend who had died in a car crash years ago. Neighbors say about 100 people had gathered and they called police to disperse the crowd, but then an argument happened, ending with 7 people shot. A group went to the home of Terry A. Adams' mother, and she ran out to find her daughter.
I was running across Cicero, and it just seemed like I was paralyzed. Like I couldn't get there fast enough, but you know I was coming, yeah. You know I was coming. You know I was coming. You know mommy was coming. You know. She just leave my heart broke.
6 other people were injured, 2 females, 4 males, one of them in critical condition. Police say they believe there were multiple offenders and plenty of witnesses, but right now nobody in custody. Reporting live, I'm Joni Lum. Back to you.
What? There's plenty of witnesses, nobody arrested. Everybody knows what happened. Nobody went to jail. What? They don't realize that's what makes that place suck. Every place that's just a full-on crap hole like that, the south side of town, over in the ghetto, over in the hood, over in the projects, however it needs to be phrased, that mentality right there is why those places are perpetually crime-ridden. Is because everybody knows what happened. Nobody wants to talk about what happened. Nobody gets held accountable, and the things keep happening, and everyone goes, "Oh God, why? Why does this keep happening?" Because nobody does anything. You got to hold these people accountable, or it will keep happening. They're like, "Well, I just don't want to get involved. It's not my business." You like living in a dangerous neighborhood? You want to be victim number 2? Like, that's how it happens. You need to get involved. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your community. Be a decent person. I don't know what's so hard about it. Everybody knows what's wrong, but nobody wants to talk about it. Attention, stop snitching. Yeah, and I think that's what it is I think people confuse snitching with doing the right thing. You could not be a snitch and do the right thing at the same time. Because people, I don't know, they have a hard time understanding. Snitching is when you're doing something wrong with other people and then you go tell on the other people you were with. That's snitching. You see somebody breaking into your neighbor's house and you don't want to be the next house that gets broken into, you call the police. That's not snitching. You stand up for yourself, you're standing up for your neighbor, you're standing up for your community. I don't know. It's dumb. It's dumb. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody's sad. Nobody wants to hold anyone accountable. I don't know. I don't know. People are confused. I see it in Gilded. I don't see it in Gilded so much, but when Discord was all we had, we'd see that all the time. I'd be getting tagged 40 times, 3 o'clock in the morning, whole Discord's on fire. I'm like, what happened? Everybody's like, I don't know. Well, weren't you here? Yeah. Well, what happened? Well, I don't know. I don't want to snitch. Okay, well, just sit in the house while it's on fire then. I don't know what to say. It ain't snitching unless you're part of the problem, so I don't know. I don't know. And then they wonder why their city's so bad. That's why, right there. Hydrodynamic, if I lived there, I'd be like you. I'd never leave. I mean, I go outside, but I can't stand being around people. That's my biggest thing, is I gotta just stay away from people. Gregory, people are scared. I mean, I guess. We have all the tools we need to survive and make things better. We're just choosing not to. People don't want to tell because they don't want retaliation. People who have guns don't worry about retaliation. See what I'm saying here? Same thing with like people are scared to say who they vote for because they're worried about retaliation. Every time we talk about transparency, what if your name went up on the wall every time you cast your opinion of who you think should be in charge? Like, transparency would be putting your name on the wall right next to who you chose to be in charge. People say, well, what about retaliation? Yeah, it's a hate crime. We already have laws. Well, what if they do something to me? You have the right to bear arms. There's no answer out there to trump. We have all the tools we need to make this a better place. We're just choosing not to. What if they think I'm a snitch? What if they fight back? What if they come and retaliate? Shoot them in the face. You have the right to defend your life. Okay, you have the right to health and happiness. You don't have to just let somebody come and take your life from you. You have rights. But people forget. They just, I don't want to get involved. Okay, well, when you're in the news, when you're on somebody's t-shirt, RIP your name, just know you didn't want to get involved. You didn't want to snitch. You didn't want to learn your rights. You didn't want to stand up for your community. You didn't want to be a good person. I don't know why people like living like that. I used to hate that. I used to live in South Bend, Indiana, and there was crime all the time. People just smoking crack out on the street. People shooting each other out in the street. People just shooting the houses up on the block. Nobody wanted to get involved. Everybody wanted to be a victim. Made no sense to me. I'm glad I don't live there anymore. I didn't know anything. I was a 12-year-old when I lived there, so I didn't have an opportunity to do anything. But if I was there now, nope. You couldn't be shooting up my neighbor's house. I'd be telling on you. I don't care. You want to come retaliate? You can be on the face of a t-shirt if you want to. That's fine. That's fine with me. All your friends and family, they will cry hard for you, and that's okay. I'm not getting victimized. No way. I don't want my community to be victimized, and I don't want bad things to happen to people. You're out here doing bad things to people, don't cross me. You ain't going to win that race. It ain't going to work out. People need to do the right thing. Make your community a better place. Wouldn't you be shocked if New York or San Francisco or Portland or any of these places just became good places to live? You'd be shocked. Your mind would be blown. And all it takes is people just doing the right thing. That's all it takes. And like I tell you guys all the time, really just making good choices, you'll just outlive people who make bad choices. People who make bad choices, their lifespan doesn't last that long. So just, what do they call it? Natural selection will take place, regardless of all the warning labels we have on the shampoo bottles and whatnot. Hydrodynamic, a freedom seed party? Anytime they want one. Throw them a party. That's how it happens. Get some, We see it a lot on the live, too. It's like, oh, man, he was such a good boy. He never did anything wrong. There's 20 family members, their faces all on the t-shirt and stuff. He's such a good guy. He went into the area and shot 20 people in the church. But he was a good guy. Yeah, it didn't work out, did it? No. Ended up in the ground and on the front of a t-shirt. Sad. That's a sad story. It's from the bottom up. Like old man Walter talks, from the bottom up. Well, he's talking about crapping his pants, but talking about you got to raise your kids right. Don't leave it to the government or to the school to raise your kids. Raise your kid right. Then they don't grow up and end up on a t-shirt. Know your rights. Enforce your rights. Stand up for yourself, your neighbors, your kids, your neighbors' kids, and your whole community. Don't let bad stuff happen. We have everything we need. We have all the resources. Or enjoy it. If you live in a crap hole, enjoy it. Be proud of how terrible the place is where you live. It's one or the other. We'll see what we can do, Miss Jamie. Robert Jr. I'm so glad I moved down the country. All farmers around me. That's what I like about living in the sticks, too. A lot of times when you hear gunshots where I live, it's actually the sheriff's department out in the field down the way just practicing. Just in case. Just in case somebody wants to do something funny. They're out there training. I don't ever hear crime going on. There is crime, but it's just dumb stuff, kids smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. Serum, $1,000 a shirt. Gotta make that money somehow. Serum, blame Sindus. It's Sindus' fault. I ain't seen Sindus in a while. Alright, this is our last one. It's titled, Woman Who Threw Her 2 Young Kids Off the Portland Bridge Dies in Prison. I don't know if this is a good one or a bad one. Depends how you look at it. See, life is about perspective. That's what I'm trying to tell you, hooligans.
Portland woman who was sentenced to life in prison for throwing her kids off the Selwood Bridge has died in prison. The Coffee Creek Correctional Facility says 45-year-old Amanda Stott Smith was found dead in her cell this morning. They did not say how she died. Stott Smith was sentenced to life or at least 35 years in prison in 2010, a year after throwing her young son and daughter off the bridge. Her son died, but her daughter survived. At the time, she reportedly said that the act was revenge against her estranged husband. An autopsy will be performed to determine the cause of death.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens. Don't hurt kids. You just kick the bucket in prison and they'll go up, put your face on the news and say, we don't know how it happened. Well, you know how it happens. People who hurt kids don't survive in prison. So you gotta make sure they go there. They'll take care of themselves. Some problems just fix themselves. Hydrodynamics, she didn't do it herself? I don't know. Maybe she did, but I doubt it. Robert, 13 years too late? Yeah. Well, you just seen the White House. They were celebrating people that hurt kids. The world's so messed up. Pretty soon they won't even put people in prison for that. They'll just give them a free Happy Meal coupon from McDonald's. They'll be like, thanks for letting us know. Here's your sticker. They want it that way. Hydrodynamic, they might have. They might have popped her melon. See what's in there. I doubt she waited so long and enacted it herself. I don't think that's what happened. Just reading through the chat. CJ, no. No. There's nowhere to live where I live. That's why I'm stuck in this little apartment. The only way out of here is buying a house. No, I still live here. It's just cool enough to where I don't need an AC today. Karami 22LR. That's for squirrels. You must have a variety of squirrels there. Well, Serum, that might be how she went. I can't say that while YouTube's around. There, the virgin ears of YouTube censorship, but that could be how she did it. I don't know if they gave her a broomstick though. I know they do. They have special privileges for women and while they're incarcerated. I know that. Some good, some not bad. I know you get your hot dogs cut up when they come through. When they have the trustees come in and throw your tray in your cell. I remember looking out the little window with the little flap. I'm like, hey, what's those other trays? They're like, oh, that's for the women's cells. Well, how come they get their hot dogs cut up? You don't cut ours up. They're like, yeah, well, you're not going to use them the same way. I didn't ask any more questions after that. Thanks, just grab my tray. Thanks. I don't want to know anymore. I've seen enough. Hey, I appreciate you, Get Some Jay. We might. Can't do any worse than old man Walter. No, hydrodynamic, not the starfish, right? And the clownfish. That was the suggestion. Anyways, you hooligans crack me up. We're going to do the spiel deal, and then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance here. I'll drop the Linktree link in the chat. So before you run away, go on the link tree, find Gilded. Go join us on Gilded. Got great resources on there, tons of hooligans, and you'll get notifications every time we go live. YouTube's been messing with my stuff since I got off that strike. I'm seeing people comment on videos that are like old, really old videos. 6-7 year old videos. Apparently I'm in circulation again. They're no longer shadow banning me, even though they keep telling me that they're not shadow banning me. They are. They're a bunch of liars. But they still don't give out notifications for crap. So when you get a second, please go to the link tree. You can find the link tree link in the chat because I just dropped it all over the place. On the link tree, you can find Gilded. Gilded is free and currently the best way to receive notifications for when and where we go live. Every time we go live, there's a news board in Gilded to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world, and there's a ton of hooligans in there to hang out with all day, every day. So definitely go get Gilded. Also on the link tree, you can find links to the merch store. We have shirts, hoodies, stickers, and coffee mugs, as well as some other specialty items on the merch store. We have 2 merch stores, one spicier than the other. Go check them both out. Everything is displayed in black and white or white and black, but if you find something you like, just click on that item to see all the different colors that item comes in. You can also find links for PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Stripe, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, and Locals if you'd like to help support what I do. There's also a link to the Amazon wish list if you would like to send me stuff. It's really easy to use. Anything you purchase directly from the wish list will be sent straight to me without having to find email addresses, find regular addresses, send information, keep track of tracking numbers. You don't have to do any of that. Anything you purchase from there goes straight to me. It's really simple. Finally, we have links for the membership programs on the link tree. You can find memberships for YouTube, Gilded, Discord, Odyssey, Rumble, and Twitch. And at the top of the link tree there, you can see the link to claim a free week membership at jeffmaclive.com. No strings attached, no credit cards required. We're not going to charge you after your week is up. You'll just lose access to the restricted areas. Having a membership will give you access to your own profile for the private social media area. You'll also have access to the live streaming area with the built-in chat. And you'll have access to our advanced messaging system with the ability to text, call, video call, group text, group call, group video call, and the ability to upload all digital media. So you can share it with all the hooligans, keep everyone informed, and just show off your cool cats and dogs and whatever else you would like to share with all of us. JeffMacLive.com is the freest place on the internet, so go check it out. I got something in my eye, and it is burning a hole, and it is rough to read and talk and die at the same time. It's hard. It's hard. I'm over here multitasking, but that's all right. You hooligans know what time it is. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, that's all the coffee I have for today, hooligans. I appreciate all of you being here. I'm going to read through the chat really quick while I still have the ability, and then we're going to wrap this up. And we'll see you guys later. We're going to be playing the game on the gaming channel, JeffMAC Gaming on YouTube and Kick and jeffmaclive.com. Later today, probably 10 o'clock. Oh, I'll probably put a poll up. I don't have one up right now, but we'll see what everybody wants to play. Let's see. Hydrodynamic. No, it's not cataracts. It's probably cat hair. God only knows. And then I stuck my dirty finger in my eye. Now my eye's all messed up. Glad I waited till the end of the live to do that. Sean, beer 30? Is it beer 30? Oh, I got some running around I gotta do. Otherwise, I would have put whiskey in my coffee. And we would have been good to go. What's up, Sly Dog? Steve with the chicken bacon. Every day, right before the live. I'm trying to find the right images to make chicken bacon shirts, because we need chicken bacon shirts, just in case you got a little chicken bacon, chicken bacon, chicken bacon, chicken bacon, bacon, chicken bacon, chicken bacon, chicken bacon, chicken, just in case. We'll see. I got a bunch of shirts I'm trying to come out with. All right, everything looks good to go. I appreciate all of you being here. You guys are awesome. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.